Having those lush, wide backing vocals can really enhance your track and take it to the next level, but if you don't mix them correctly, they can really clash with your main vocal and muddy up your mix. So how do you go about mixing backing vocals? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 simple steps that you can follow to mix amazing sounding backing vocals every single time. And step number 1 is to treat your backing vocals like they are one singular instrument. And you can do that by placing them into a bus or a group. So here inside of Logic, that's what I've done. I have this backing group here where I got all the backing vocals treated as one track here. And there are 8 different tracks in here. So basically 2 different harmony parts, each with 3 tracks. That's 1 and 2 right here. Then I've got just some basically like garnish, just a little bit of ear candy vocals there. And so real quick, I'll play what the raw vocals sound like here.
Cyberspace.
So not bad. They sound pretty good, but they definitely need some work and going to be lost in the mix. But that's an important part, is recording your backing vocals so they sound great. And if you want more tips on how to actually go about recording backing vocals, creating those harmonies and layers and all that, I have another tutorial on this, which you can check out in the description below, or I'll link a card up above. Step 2, we want to make sure we volume balance these correctly. We want to make sure they're sitting behind those lead vocals. So this is the lead vocal right here. We're gonna make sure they're not too loud so they're not gonna clash with the lead.
Cyberspace, a digital romance not to embrace.
So that's nice. They definitely sound like they're behind the lead. They definitely sound a little dark and muddy right now. And that would definitely, in the context of the full mix, would not be good. So that's what we're gonna work on cleaning up here next, so you can hear what the track on.
Cyberspace.
Not bad, but we got our volume level set correctly here. So you see in the group, I can just turn this down. I also turn down these individual tracks. So that is pretty simple right there. Now, before I move on to step 3, I just want you to know you can grab my free mixing checklist in the description below. And not only does this walk you through a proven step-by-step system for how to go about mixing a track start to finish. So it walks you through what to start with first, second, third, and so on. But this also has a bunch of handy cheat sheets included inside of it that walk you through how to EQ and compress and mix different elements and instruments in your mix. So if you want to know how to go about compressing vocals, EQing vocals, drums, bass, etc., you have handy cheat sheets in there that walk through the frequency ranges for each of these different elements and what you might want to consider boosting or cutting. And same thing goes with compression, walk you through what compression settings you want to use. So this is just a really handy cheat sheet you can have on hand to make sure you're never going wrong when you are mixing. Again, this is completely free in the description below, or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/mixing checklist. All right, step number 3 is panning. So you want to get those nice wide vocals, and there's a couple different schools of thought on this. Some people try to kind of fan out the vocals. So maybe you would have some panned far right, and then some maybe like 45 or 30, whatever, and kind of spread out. And that's great if you have tons and tons of tracks, but the minimal amount of work you need to do to get that same kind of result is just the left, center, right approach, where you have one track panned far left, one track going down the center, and then one track panned far right. So that's what I did here with these 2 different melody sections. So if we solo these, we can hear the first melody here. And then same thing with the other melody or harmony. All right, now step number 4 is EQ, and we want to EQ the backing vocals differently from the lead vocal. So if we come up here, we can see the lead vocal. We can see what we have going on here with the EQ, cutting some of those harsh high mids, boosting the highs there a bit. And so we want to do something different and get a different tone with our backing vocals. And for that, I'm mainly using the Butch Vig here. And so you can see I'm high cutting up to 10K here, and then low cutting up to about 380 or so. So on the EQ, that would look like EQ cutting like all the way up to here or so, or low passing, something like that. So this is kind of what our backing vocals look like now, as opposed to the lead vocals here. So there's a reduced frequency range for the backing vocal sets so they don't really clash. And then another thing you can do is kind of take an inverse approach. So you can see here where I'm cutting on the lead vocal, I'm boosting here on the backing vocals. So that can help kind of create that contrast so they stand out against each other and don't clash. Step 5 is compression, and you typically want to apply some pretty aggressive compression with your backing vocals, more aggressive than you would with your lead vocal, because with your lead vocal, you want to preserve some of the dynamics in the performance. That's how you can, help create the emotion of the track and enhance the emotion behind the lyrics. With your backing vocals, you're not really getting that. You want those to be very limited when it comes to dynamics. You want them to be very consistent, very present and wide. And so for that, we're going to do a lot of heavy compression here. So I'm using 1176 style compression here with the Black 76 by IQ Multimedia. And don't be afraid to use some higher ratios. So here I'm using a 12:1 ratio here, which is pretty high. And we're going to apply quite a bit of gain reduction as well. So don't be afraid to do that either. We're going to do about 5 to 7 dB here.
Not to embrace, not to embrace, not to embrace.
So those are a lot wider and more upfront. If you look at the meter here, it sounds like we're getting louder, but we're not actually adding any gain.
Not to embrace.
So we're peaking at about -16, and then with it off, then with it on.
Not to embrace.
We're right about at the same level there. And now I'm going to use a second compressor here, so serial compression here to even compress it even more. And I'm adding also some saturation here. And so that is actually step number 6, is to consider adding some saturation to your vocals. So this is kind of both compression and saturation. So we'll hear before and after.
Not to embrace, not to embrace, not to embrace.
So with this hard setting on, I believe that is like a 4:1 ratio, so a higher ratio, and we're doing like 3 to 5 dB of compression there, also adding in that saturation. So again, it's helping to differentiate the backing vocals from the lead vocal, creating a different texture, and also just helping them be more upfront and less dynamic. All right, not bad. And then we could add some more saturation if we wanted to. So maybe I'll go back into Butch Vig here, maybe increase the tube saturation here. We can try like 10%.
Not to embrace, not to embrace, not to embrace.
Just so we're getting a different texture there. Now, step 7 is to add some reverb, and it can be a good idea to put your backing vocals in a different space from your lead vocals as well. And so you might want to put them maybe in a longer, more lush reverb as well. So we can try that as well here. So I got some tau reverb going on, and we are low cutting and high cutting pretty extreme. So we're only getting those mids, so we don't want to really muddy things up. And then we're just blending this in here. We have it on a send. So now we can hear what that sounds like.
Not to embrace.
So that even helps them make them even more full. So now let's hear it in the context with the lead vocal and the track.
This feeling was born in cyberspace, a digital romance not to embrace. Met once in person, but love was forbidden.
If you want more tips for how to go about mixing the different elements in your songs, and be sure to grab my free mixing checklist once again in the description below, or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/mixing checklist. And now, mixing your backing vocals is important, yes, but you also want to make sure you are recording them well and you're creating those awesome harmonies and layers and so on. So if you want a guide on how to do that, then check out my video on the screen right now, which walks you through how to go about recording those backing vocals. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.